Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic.
I'm Barry P. Cook. I'm here to talk to you about the latest episode of DC's Titans. It was called Brother Blood. As the episode opens, we find Connor shaving his head with his laser vision by using a mirror and a small piece of that same mirror that he was holding in his hand. So he's holding a mirror like this and zapping and it was going this way, and he was going around his head and doing it. Okay. Anyway, we find Sebastian going through some type of metamorphosis, and he seems to be struggling with it, but Mother Mayhem is confident he'll fulfill his destiny. It seems that while Jinx was checking Connor out to make sure the spell did its job during last episode, she was able to get up close and personal with him. We now see that Connor did indeed shave his head, and not just a little bit. He did the full Mr. Luthor. Anyway, he's also now hell-bent on just killing Sebastian outright. And while everyone's trying to talk him out of it, because as a rule the Titans don't kill, he's just not having it. Beast Boy, meanwhile, is having premonitions of the very near future all of a sudden. We find out that Connor has commandeered all the LexCorp satellites, and he's going to redirect sunlight in such a way that it wipes out the redness of the blood moon, which I'm not sure is how it works, but he thinks it is. When I say that I'm not sure that that's how it works, in other words, there are atmospheric conditions or spatial conditions that bring about the blood moon. And if you just use light to give the moon an appearance change, you're just masking it. In other words, the other atmospheric conditions are still there, the underlying conditions that made it red. So if astrologically speaking, those conditions are still present but being masked, why would it affect Mother Mayhem and Brother Blood's ability to do whatever it is they were going to do? I didn't understand that, but apparently that's what happens, because once he does that, they're unable to do whatever they were going to do. Jinx comes up with a plan to use teleportation to get Sebastian back. Sebastian, meanwhile, is having flashbacks to times in his life when he was put upon for being smart. Back at Star Labs, in what I could only describe as a kind of unintended hot-off, Jinx and Raven talk about her situation now that she's powerless. Raven then ends up eating some of Jinx's hair, apparently as part of a spell to get her powers back. Beast Boy is approached by a guy outside of a takeout restaurant who says some creepy shit to him about Buddy Baker and Mother Mayhem. And apparently, in saying all this, he was talking about the entities that are trying to communicate with Beast Boy. I didn't really understand it. Hilariously, while giving Dick a spiel about how the way he's doing things is for the best and how it's the only option, Superboy actually perpetuates a sort of self-own by the show on the show, because in the speech he basically points out that nobody's doing anything, nobody has any powers. Raven is useless, Tim has a staff he doesn't know how to use, Starfire's blue thing is barely working, and so all you got is me. And which is kind of funny, because myself and other folks have been saying, not only this season but in prior seasons, if I'm not mistaken, that these people never use their powers, or they go for long stretches without using their powers, and it's just dumb. Because they're stumbling through the events of the story like regular people. It's just insane. I thought it was kind of a self-own. I thought it was a moment where the show was kind of owning itself by pointing out, hey, nobody can do anything, nobody does anything. Anyway, we then find Sebastian drinking blood from Mother Mayhem's wrist and being shunted through another vision, or a memory. I guess it's a memory. And in it, he is at dinner with a woman that he's been dating, but he breaks up with her because he just feels like he's going to end up being dumped by her when she finds somebody she likes better. But the woman that he's dating in this memory is the woman that is Mother Mayhem's associate, who, of course, is there in the temple with them. Speaking of Mother Mayhem, she apparently is getting inside Connor's head and trying to stoke his rage. Jinx, Starfire, and Raven engage in a ritual to try to disassemble Sebastian from a distance and teleport his pieces parts to where they are so that he can be reassembled. But they discover that Connor is being held by Mother Mayhem somehow. So they have to go in physically, because they can't teleport two people because it would mix up all their pieces parts. And so they suit up and go to do that. Turns out that Connor's little trick with the satellite still left Mother Mayhem 5 minutes of blood moon time right at the end, with which to do her thing with Sebastian. So she proceeds to do that. But Beast Boy, having transformed into a gorilla, busts in, followed by the rest of the team, which starts kicking ass. Beast Boy then breaks a crystal that was holding some type of entity. I wasn't sure if it was Raven's actual power entity thing or something else, but it zaps back into Raven and transforms her clothing. And she's now wearing some kind of white witchy getup, which looked really cool on her, actually. Jinx then seems to freeze Mother Mayhem in place, but when she gets close, Mother Mayhem is able to move just enough to stick her with her staff, putting her in a world of hurt, as it were. Starfire and Raven blast Mother Mayhem at the same time, and she calls out to Sebastian. Both Raven and Tim implore Sebastian not to drink the thing that Mother Mayhem wants him to drink in order to go through his transformation, but he drinks it anyway because he's tired of being a nothing. He then lets out some kind of sonic blast from his mouth, kind of like a canary cry, and it kind of cripples everybody. But then Beast Boy seems to teleport everyone somehow to the red, which is that place where the weird tree is. Sebastian then immerses himself in a pool of blood, and the episode ends. So, I think what they're doing with Connor, with Superboy, is kind of interesting. He's embracing his Lex side, his Luthor side. And, that's going to make for some interesting moments, I guess. But, and, I guess it's cool that they're sort of giving us, a brother blood character that's got layers and that is complex. And I think the guy does a good job in the part, but it's just they were in costume in this episode for like 5 minutes doing superhero stuff and engaged in a fight. And I said this last week, the rest of the time, every week, it's just them solving problems like the Scooby Gang and, or like the folks on Nancy Drew. And that's not this, it's a superhero show. They should be doing superhero fights every week, but instead they go in all these different directions trying to have drama with this character and drama with that character and, something freaky with this character, something freaky with that character. And it's too much and it's a mess. And I'm not really getting anything out of this show. It's just not good. I watch every week hoping it's going to be good and it's not good. And then I come here and talk about it and it's essentially not enjoyable. So I don't know. I feel like I shouldn't abandon it, but I feel like I want to abandon it. So I don't know. We'll have to see if I come back with a review of next week's episode. I won't know until it airs. But I'm going to get out of here for now until I return with one video or another. I wish you peace and long life.